Alright, this is going to be the weekly recap from Monday the 27th to the first day of October, the 1st, which was on Friday. I actually did not trade anything on Friday, but that is the trading week from the 27th to the 1st there. And I had a total of 9 trades, 7 of them were profitable. That makes it a 77% winning percentage. And my average dollar gain, one of them really just affected the rest of the other trades. It really helped with the stats, was $17, and then my average dollar loss was 10. But because I have that winning percentage, it really helped it in theory with, in this case, be profitable. Kind of crazy to see that like, even though my average percent gain was a lot less than what my average percent loss was, I only had 2 trades. My average position size is about the same. It really evened out with this trade again. And something that is, a similarity is that right here my average time in the trade was 2 minutes, and my average time in a losing trade, although I only had 2 trades, was very small. So I guess it just shows that in theory I'm trying to hold these trades a lot better, these winning trades. I'm trying. And that's been a goal of mine, to really be able to hold on to some of these trade setups longer. Some of them I did very well cutting immediately because it just wasn't working that well, but I need to continue to keep trying to be more profitable on the setups that I do nail. There were a few that I just wasn't able to trade, but in theory I think some of these setups, especially the ones that have a morning panic bounce play, and then it kind of makes a multiple downtrends, multiple new lows, and then it eventually turns around 11. A lot of them do that. Some of them, they just break past the VWAP level and then continue really nicely. I need to try to push myself to trade some of those, and on those types of setups I need to hold much longer, and I really want to push myself to be able to hold setups much longer than just 5 minutes. Some of these setups are very profitable, but they take it's time, and I have to be able to hold 10, 20, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. It depends on the setup. I could totally do that, and I need to keep working on it. There was some progress. I did have some longer trades the other week, and I just need to continue that. My it was up $103 on the week, which is that's kind of funny because I made 105 on this last trade here, and then all of this mess just equates to negative $2. I traded $6,400 of dollar volume, and I'd like it to be higher of that $6,400 of dollar volume traded. It was only just 1.6%. Like, if I were to have traded that entire position, I want to make this a lot bigger. I think I can push it to at least 2. I'd like to see a 3 or 4%, but I do have to take into account some of them are not going to be profitable trades. But I need to really put in some more effort, trying to really let the ones that work out, yes, it's just be something very nice. Alright, and right here I actually did kind of bad in terms of whether the setup worked or not. I got a 72, so I look forward to rewatching, looking at all of these trades and just reviewing them to see what I could do better. It says I traded very well, according to this, but I clearly must have not have been trading the best setups. And if I had to guess, that's because I was trying to nail the morning panic bounce play bottom, and a lot of these were like tsunami type panic stocks that just continuously made new lows, and I need to be able to do better and maybe not trade those and think of the overall big picture. But let's go ahead and look at these setups, starting with TGGI. This is a morning panic bounce play higher low setup for the 28th. TGGI for the 28th. So very nice stock, very nice run. The 28th was just one more day. So the second red day, morning panic bounce play off of here. It clearly had some kind of a wick. 28th is, I guess I didn't trade the 27th. Alright, so the first trade was on a Tuesday. And yeah, we had a bit of a morning panic bounce play, but this thing was also, yeah, it was also like a gap down, so that kind of threw me off. In theory, if we have like a morning panic bounce play and it has a gap down and maybe it only drops like, you know, right here at 931 and there's a potential level 2 reversal, you know, but I say, oh, I don't really want to trade it because, you know, it's 931, it's kind of early. Most of them kind of, you know, work at 932 to 936. 934 is a very nice one. This one had already a gap down, so I probably, you know, should have been more alert to trading this initial morning panic bounce play. I did not trade it for that reason. It was a very clear level 2 reversal. I remember I could have maybe have been in. Maybe I would have not have been executed, but it was a clear moment where I could have been in, hitting the ask at 13, and you know, it didn't run for much longer, but it did get past this VWAP level, and that would have been a tiny profitable trade. Trade a $600 position, and this was the higher low, so in theory I was going for something where it has the bottom here, downtrends, and makes a higher low, and it continues to run, but it clearly didn't work here. I was in at 936. I was out at 937 the next minute. Let's look at 936, 131. Alright, 936 is right here, 131. My entry was right here, just thinking that it's going to be a higher low off of this level and it's going to hold. And I sold 937 for 12.7. So 937 right here, this big red candle. Right here was my sell. It was disappointing because it didn't work, but one thing I could have done better with this setup is that the price action was very obviously not going to show that this thing was going to reverse, even though at the time when I got in the trade it looked like it was going to, because there was a very large amount of people on the bid, a very small amount of people on the ask. The ask was getting hits, lots of green price action, but eventually that did not happen anymore. It failed, and the bid just kept getting smaller. The ask started to get much larger. It was basically the opposite price action, and there was a lot of red, you know, in the time and sale section. So I probably should have tried just selling right then and there at 13, and I would have made it a very tiny loss. And there would have been that chance that maybe just a bunch of bidders pop up, you know, right when it looks like it's going to fail. But yeah, that clearly wasn't the case here, and that probably could have helped me be a little more profitable. Let's see how that would have been. That would have turned it, yeah, a tiny $5 loss. Would have been a super nice, you know, in terms of percent loss, would have been very small, just under 1%. That would have really helped with the stats. Yeah, that would have helped with my average percent loss too. It wouldn't have helped my overall profit, but you know, I would have felt better if I just had a tiny loss. The trade setup didn't work like it did here, and I just lost a tiny $6 instead of, you know, trying to wait for it. Okay, it broke 13. Let's cut losses. I get out at 127. Boohoo. The only good thing about this trade, with all of that in mind, another good thing is that at least I did cut losses immediately. I did have an issue not cutting losses the other week, and that wasn't the case here. It did save me from having to sell at a lower level. Let's just see 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that would have sucked. $40 loss, 6%. I avoided that. If I didn't learn my lessons like I did the week before, this one that I'm going over, yeah, that would have been super bad. Super bad. So I'm glad I at least cut losses quickly. I will be doing this in the future. If it just looks like, I mean, it might still hold, but if it just looks like the bid, you know, my risk level is about to be taken out, I'll go ahead and get out before it gets taken out, just to avoid, you know, an extra bleed. And I think that can help me a lot. That would have helped a lot in terms of not just like really the profit loss, but it would have helped how I felt better. You know, I would have felt better later that day. Maybe I would have traded other things nicer. But yeah, that's something I'm going to do. And let's look at the next one. 928 ILUS. Okay, this is a weird one. Large volume sell dip buy. I think there was another one of these that I traded. I'm not sure, but let's look at ILUS and the 28th. Okay, so that's the 27th. Alright, so it looks like it had like a breakout day. It failed. But it did continue. No, it didn't continue actually. Okay, yeah. This one just trades all weird. And yeah, okay, 28th. Big red day. Let's look at that right here. I already see where I traded it. Let's go ahead and bring this a bit closer. A little closer. It just faded a little after this price action here. I was in 959, out 959. I was in and out the same minute. $780 position. Let's look at 959, 3901. Wait, 939? 959. Alright, right here in this wick. 39.1 or 39.01? Alright, 39.01. So I guess right here, I mean in theory 39, right? Right, yeah, just right at 39 was my entry. Why did I get in this? You know, it's not like a normal morning panic bounce play. This just had like, you can see a big volume candle. Somebody just threw a lot of shares, dumped it, sold a bunch of shares, a large position, and it just caused the price to have this drop here. I got in here and it had a sketchy freaking wick, and then it just headed right back down. That looked super sketchy. I thought maybe this is going to continue to do a panic, but from what I've learned, a lot of these that have like a big volume sell off, maybe you don't get the exact price, but most of them don't break lower than the initial level. But you do have to be quick because this thing just happens randomly. I happened to see this trade because somebody noted it in the chat room, and I saw it here. I went in and I got out 39.120. Yeah, that was a bad sell. 39.120. Just a tiny move. And that's what happened. I got in it. It looked nice. It got to, you know, 39.93. You know, 40 it wasn't mine. Okay, this is looking nice. And it just fell right back down. I sold because I thought it was going to look ugly. And it did downtrend. You got to 38.5. But look at it move. It went to 42. And that would have been super profitable. Out of curiosity. What would it have been if I sold at 39.9? That would have been 20 bucks. Still only a 2% gain, but yeah. And it turned out also that Tim Sykes bought. He must have bought here, and then he had a sell, not a sell, a buy alert. And I'm gonna guess a bunch of yuppies caused this little wick here, just screaming to get in at any price to chase Tim's alert because they're complete idiots. And then what happened was that they brought it back down, and then just continued to at least hold this level. I could have been profitable if I risked the bottom here, but that was the idea. It did make a nice uptrend in theory. If I'm Mr. Perfect, I sell right here because it has the first red candle, although this one might have sketched me out because that one looks all ugly. Let's just see what a sell at 41.6 would have been. 41.64. Yeah, that would have been a lot more profitable. I did put some size. That would have been a 6% gain. That would have been pretty cool, but I think I learned a lot from that. If there's like a pattern again, where it just has this big sell-off, large volume, you know, and you know, it's just a quick move, I should consider it and just risk the bottom of that low. Maybe not try to be nitpicky and try the bottom levels of the candles or whatever like that. Just the initial bottom. A lot of these do not break, you know, this bottom right here and head lower. Or if they do, I think a majority of them still end up being super profitable, and that it has some kind of a bounce to sell into. Now if you chased it, that's your fault, but I think this is a really good setup. I can try this, and hopefully I can be a little more profitable and trade it better. I can't be that upset because this wick was kind of sketchy looking after I had this one, but it clearly did turn around, and I wouldn't have sold anywhere up here. I would have definitely sold after the first red candle, or especially here when it's right under that VWAP level, right? And then, you know, it started the downtrend, even though it did put up a higher low. I've been kind of, you know, trying to push myself to trade some of these and hold through a potential higher low, even if it doesn't happen. It did happen here, and yeah, that was a good sell. This was a great review. The next one is IFAN, the 29th, and this was a morning panic balance play. Let's look at IFAN. Right about here, first red day. Nice run up from this this 1 cent level to 5, so like a 500% move. Super nice. Let's look at the 29th. This was the morning panic balance play right here, and my entry was 456, 941. Right here at 941 was my entry, 456. So right at not at the very top, but close to the top, 456. Morning panic bounce play, you know, went from 5 cents to 4.5. I think it was just right around 10% down on the day. My entry was here, and my sell was 46.30, 943.31. So 943, 46.30, which was right here. My sell was right here, my buy was right here. This would have been hard to sell into. It did get to 48, but yeah, I would have had plenty of chance to sell at 468. Let's just see what that would have been. That still wouldn't have been that nice percent-wise, but that's cool. So this was a weird morning panic balance play because the volume wasn't really there. And then like the ask, the bid and the ask would just like have such a wide spread. So some of this price action was just the bid and the ask being hit. Started the trade all weird. And the main issue here is that I traded this on E-Trade because this is not tradable on Schwab, because when Schwab made the list of stocks that we are and are not able to trade, because they didn't have their current filings, these OTC stocks. This was one of them, and it does have current status now, but it wasn't at the time when Schwab made that list. So I had to trade this on E-Trade, and the problem is that E-Trade charges commission. So I actually just barely made money here because the commissions just really killed me on this one, and I just didn't trade a large enough size. I have a $2,000 account, so what would have been if I traded 40,000? Still would have been, you know, a small profit, but yeah, that was a good attempt. It wasn't the best morning panic balance play. It did work out much nicer here the next day, the 30th. But let's look at the rest of the trades. The next one is ILUS, another morning panic. I traded this, holy crap, 4 times, at least from the 29th. And all of these are no's. ILUS was a piece of crap when it came to morning panic bounce plays, and I probably should have just waited for this, but let's just go ahead and see. I barely held on to some of these, so, and it looks like I did at least nail one of them. So yeah, let's look at ILUS for the 29th. So super nice run up, second red day. Yeah, just a nice run up. Let's look at the 29th for ILUS, which is right here. There's that morning panic bounce play, and all right, my entry was 947, 37.01. So right about here, 947, right here, 37.01. So right here, just right here. And then my sell was Okay, so I held this thing for 16 seconds. This is what I learned from that first trade that didn't work out with TGGI, where, you know, I could have probably have sold before my risk level broke. As you can tell, my risk level was that 37 level. I'm in at 37.01, and then I sold at 37.005, so I barely lost there. It was a $700 position, and that was the idea. I thought 37 was probably not, in, you know, absolutely, but in theory, I had a good chance of reversing, because it was reversing. It was trying to hold 37, but what happened is again, the bid just started to get smaller, the ask started to get larger, lots of people dumping their shares on the bid, lots of red in the time and sales section, the tape, and I sold right before it broke that level. This was a fine attempt, and that prevented me from having to sell in this panic wick. Let's just see what a sell at 36.46 would have been if I didn't do that. Okay, so yeah, it wouldn't have been that much of a loss, but you know, this would have helped a lot more on the previous trades, especially with TGGI. And yeah, I would have done my trade, you know, cut losses quickly, but I think there's nothing wrong with selling right before the risk level is broken. If it just shows, you know, looking at the level 2 time sales, all of that stuff put together, that is probably going to break the level. And that was a great trade attempt. You know, I probably shouldn't have messed with ILUS afterwards, but that was good overall. And let's look at it again. This was another attempt trying to get that level. In theory, this one did kind of work. Sold the top of the range under VWAP, so 36.31, 952. Alright, 952. This red candle 36, what was it, 51? It was 31, I think. Right here. Yeah, 36.31, 952. And I saw 955, 36.7. So right here, 36.7 was right about here. So my sell was right here, and I was in at right here. So I bought right here, and then I sold, you know, at that 36. What was it? 36.31. 36.7. Okay, 36.7. The bottom 6.7. Okay. So yeah, it was just a quick move, and I was too chicken. I could have done this. I could have totally have applied it. This is one of those where you have the morning panic balance play bottom. It has a spike. In theory, a lot of these put up a higher low, like it did here, right? A higher low from here, and then continue an uptrend. I could have done that, but I was just too scared. I just sold that right then and there. Could have topped out here and then broke the level again, because I mean, it was already having this crazy price action, but that wasn't really that bad. And then I was super close to considering a buy, or did I actually trade it? Yeah, I didn't trade it, but I was pretty, one of these days, it might have been this one, I was super close to considering a buy, and that would have worked. I would have been in at 36, you know, 6 maybe, and then I probably would have sold at this level maybe at 37. And if I was brave enough, which I'm trying to do, you know, hold for a higher low, which this would have been the bottom, and then make another move. And then we didn't have a red candle until 39.16. That would have been super nice, you know, especially here. If I entered here, maybe I sold half at this VWAP level, in theory holding for a higher low to make, you know, itself, and then uptrend from there. That would have been super profitable. I'm trying to push myself to trade stuff like that. It's totally possible. And this one started to get even crazier later in the week. That's a great review. CEI. Okay, this is nice. An interesting setup. Not a morning panic balance play. This is a head and shoulders, but I'm shorting what could be the head of this setup. So let's look at CEI for the 29th. Right about here. Sketchy freaking wick. This thing went to, this is the day that it went to Wow, this is the day that I almost hit 5, but that was nice. Let's look at the 29th. Right here, and no, that's the 30th actually. This was a crazy move, and this thing was just stupid hard to trade, but let's look at it right here. And I think I traded it here, one of these. Yeah, I think it was back here. CEI, I was short 390, 1136. 1136 is right here. Let's just kind of yeah, we'll show the whole thing. Why not? 1136. It was short 390. So this was my idea. Shoulder, potential head, downtrends. I'll sell into that. It makes a shoulder. Maybe I'll try shorting the shoulder again. Clearly did not work here. And I put no, the setup did not work, which is true. Even though I was profitable here just a tiny bit. I sold, I didn't sell, I covered 1138, 386. So 1138 right here, this little candle right here, 386. So my cover was here and I shorted back here at 390. Yeah, it clearly didn't work out. Shoulder, head, and then, you know, it did break 4. I would have cut losses quickly there if that would have happened. I would have lost just $10 here. I wasn't trying to trade this thing with that much size because this thing is crazy. I'm still learning. Listed stocks I know a lot less compared to OTCs, but I'm trying to get some experience like I did here. Clearly got much higher to 485, but I think that was an okay attempt. Just trying to do something like that. It was very successful. I think the 28th, the same idea, but it didn't work out this day. Let's look at the 30th. The last day I traded for that week, ILUS, 2 times morning panic bounce waves, didn't work either time. Alright, let's look at ILUS for the 30th. I might barely be profitable in that stock. It's such a weird one. 30th is right here. Sure, let's just highlight the entire day. Why not? Yeah, this is a tsunami panic stock. Look at this VWAP level. Didn't hit it. And this bounce, this one didn't work here. Didn't work here. Didn't hit VWAP here. It wasn't until it did that 11 a.m. move that, you know, ILUS, TGGI, CYBL, and I think some other ones also did finally hit VWAP. Some of these never do, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, I clearly could have pushed myself to trade some of these. Clearly could have, definitely could have. But let's look at the first trade. That was 933, 352, and that was way back here. You know, just thinking this is a normal morning panic bounce play, perhaps 10% down on the day. You know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Thing went 30% down on the day. This was a tsunami type panic. I don't like those, but next time we have one of those, I'll definitely try to go for an 11 a.m. reversal, especially when it has that bottom here. You know, it tries to goes up, right? But then it makes a higher low, and that makes it look so much more attractive. Not, oh yeah, I nailed the bottom here. No, but like the higher low, you know, even though you get in at a slightly higher price, which isn't even that much, 26.4 compared to 26.7, and it's just so much less risk because now you have like a bottom here. It could be a higher low, the first higher low here, and it's starting to reverse right here. That's in theory the 11 a.m. morning panic bounce play on a tsunami type stock, which was the case here with ILUS. And that would have been nice because they would have went from what, 27, let's just say at 27. It topped out at just under 30. Just under VWAP, and then it did put up a higher low, although this would have been a lower low from here, which would have been kind of hard. It did break VWAP later, and that would have been super profitable. I'm going to get some water. I'll be back. Alright, I am back, and I'm not sure if I actually went over the trade itself, but the main reason why I got out of this is because the VWAP level was so freaking close to the bottom of this setup. I think the bottom here maybe was 34.97. And maybe 35. So you know, it was playing off of that 35 level. It ultimately failed and made a nice downtrend, and then, you know, it kept making new lows. But I really didn't like it because the bottom is 35. But if you look at the top of VWAP, it was, you know, right there. It says in that purple, like right here, VWAP was freaking 35.5. That is not good. That is not good in terms of percentage, and there was a lot of volume dumped. So it just made me think this thing had a lot more room to downtrend, and I just played it the same way, I think, as the other ones, where I have that risk level 35 cents. But if it looks like it's going to break 35 cents, you know, I'll just get out right before it actually does. And I think I sold this one for a tiny profit because I did sell in this tiny uptrend that it had there. You see that little wick, kind of like the other one with IOUS previously. I was able this time to sell actually near the top of the wick. Let's just go over my entries and sell before I get too far ahead. 933, 35.2. Very hard to tell now. This was 933. The red candle, was it? I think let's just zoom in. Why not? I'm gonna have to redo it again. Yeah. So 933 was my entry. 352, which would have been just give or take right there. And then I sold at 934, 355. This wick right here, 355. So yeah, near the top, and yeah, the thing had a lot more room to downtrend. Let's try to save this chart. I don't want to have to do all this zooming back and forth again, but yeah, that was the first trade right there. It didn't work out. And then I tried one more time, it didn't work out. That was 935 at 351. Wait, what? 935? Is that the same? No, 933, 934. Wow, I just traded in and out the same range. I shouldn't do that. 935. Okay, so yeah, I took a buy here, sold in the wick, and then I tried again 935, which was that little doji looking candle. Geez, I guess I'll have to zoom back. I got back in at 935, 351, right here, this doji candle, and I sold 937, 352, right here, 352, which was kind of near the middle, right? No, near the top, 352. And what did I say? I tried again with a smaller size. That's true. The other one was a 2,000 share position, 700 bucks. And here I tried smaller because it was just looking that risky. Yeah, I just didn't like how VWAP was so close to the bottom. It looks like I tried again because 35 held after that wick price action. You know, it closed right there at 35, and then here it kind of had like a gap up. It was looking nice. I tried again. Yep, and I sold because the price action was looking bad. And that's good. I saved myself from a nice freaking tsunami panic to sell into. So I'm happy with that. I should have, you know, traded this right here. But I think this is when I had that nice trade. Yeah, the last trade was that $100 trade. And that was at 947. So, you know, by that time, I was just like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to trade anything else. I didn't trade the next day, Friday. This was a Thursday, and I just didn't want to have such a nice profit trade and then feel like, all right, it's now time. This is it, and then I just do some stupid crap and I lose a bunch of money. You know, just wanted to not, you know, just go crazy. I just wanted to okay, took a nice trade. Let's not trade a little, take things a bit, you know, just to take a step back and just not really push myself that much, not go crazy. That's the main goal, just not to go crazy and, oh, here we go, you know. It's like you're into gambling and you're in the lotto machine. You just made a nice amount, you're like, all right, I gotta double down, triple down, I need to keep going, and then you just lose it all. I didn't want that. And it still did a nice turnaround, and then Friday had a lot of these as well, but I think I'm now mentally ready to try something like that. I think the main thing I've been trying to do since I, you know, got back into trading stocks again is just not try to freaking burn out and That has been the goal of mine, but this was a nice turnaround. You can even call it an inverse head and shoulders in theory. Shoulder, head, shoulder. But again, if we get some of these, which, I mean, I'm going to have to guess it probably won't happen anytime soon, because we'll just need another stock to do a nice run up and then do a morning panic tsunami type thing for something like this. Maybe we'll get more opportunities this week, but in theory, I'm just going to say it probably won't happen. But in the future, I think, I hope, I'll be more prepared. IFAN, the last trade, 9:30 morning panic bounce play. This is the second time I traded it. The first one was the other day where I barely made money because it just had it had commissions. And this one did work out the Friday day at 11 a.m. But this would have been kind of different. I gotta do something. I'll be back. Alright, let's look at the setup. It was the day right here when I traded it. Let's just highlight from this price point. This was it, the morning panic bounce play. Let's look at my entry, 947 at 383. 947, this green candle, 383. I felt like I could have gotten a better entry. I didn't sell, I bought right at the freaking top. And at the time when I was wanting this to do a reversal, it was like 379, it went to 38, 381, 382, and then I got executed at 383. But although I didn't get the best freaking buy, at least I got a super nice sell. My sell was 952. You see, I held this one for 5 minutes. I let it work, but clearly some of these tsunami type panics, and of course at the time you don't know at the initial 934, 935 morning panic bounce play if it's going to do it, except for that one indication with ILUS that the VWAP was just so close to the bottom, and those aren't necessarily good, at least from what I'm looking at. And like just trading these, they just don't seem to work that nice. But my sell was 952, 413. This candle right here. And it was super nice. Now, at one point, it was kind of scary because it was just trading back and forth, and it did the same thing it did the previous day, where on Wednesday, it just had like a large spread, and it started to do that mess. At one point, it was just slightly lower, but I wasn't going to cut it because it was just for a little tiny bit right at the level, and then it started to come back, and the bid and the ask just started to lift up. People were hitting the ask, and it was just looking super nice. And then it had this jump on air like it did right here. In theory, if this thing had more volume, it wouldn't have been a gap like this. It just would have traded up that level. And it went way past VWAP. I saw that 413. The next candle, it did get the 422, but that would have been hard to sell. It did, in theory, put a higher low right here, and then kind of trade back and forth. And then it kind of made a choppy lower low. It's widespread. This would have been hard to sell into at the highs. I think my sell was super nice because it was still uptrending. Then to try to sell at the ask, and then the bids getting hit, and then it's just like mercy. Am I going to get my order executed, or am I going to have to sell at the bid and not necessarily get the best price for the 416, which doesn't seem like that much, but it would have been a lot more mental capital trying to sell into this mess. So I'm kind of happy with my sell, really, especially because it was way past VWAP. And yeah, that was a super nice trade. I was happy with it. You see, I even put that I traded it, really nicely in my opinion. Not too greedy, good size. It was sketchy. It did have low volume. It didn't have that large spread, but I was kind of prepared for that because it did that Wednesday. It did have a nice move, as I showed previously on Friday, the last day, that 11 a.m. reversal. 7% move. That really made the week and also made the month. As you can tell right here, I finished up $195. I did have some other trades that helped push it to $195, but this was a $112 trade, not trade day. And that really helped. The week before was 124, but I'm really happy that although I made a lot more here on September, I only had 30 trades, and here I had 41 trades. So in theory, I'm trading less, but maybe I'm trading better, and I think that's going to be really nice. Maybe it was just that one thing that made everything a lot better, but still, it seems like just something that I can keep trying to do, just having less trades overall. With the trades I do take, they're very nice size, nice setups, and I hold it nicely. I have mental capital because I'm not trading so many times, and I think that can help. Let's see, I am just like on my Profitly, I am just like $100 from just being completely break even, making up all of my losses. Even like when I first started in 2015, I am super close to that level, and I'm really happy for that reason. But I can still do a whole lot of things better. A lot of these 11 a.m. Morning panic, tsunami type bounce setups were super profitable. I didn't participate in those. And that one trade with TGGI, I could have done a lot better, just selling right before my risk level broke. You know, it's not like a pride thing. Yeah, I cut the trade right when the risk level broke. No, let's cut it right at the risk level. If it looks like it's going to break, maybe it actually holds, but you know, then you have like that crazy drop to sell into, and that makes it hard. And if you don't cut losses quickly there, then you can be in a lot of trouble, and I had that issue last week. So I still have a lot of things to get better at. I'm really thankful for God. I didn't do anything dumb. I didn't, you know, try to push myself after that $100 trade. I didn't trade anything on Friday, but I could have. I just got a long way to go. I like the path that I'm in. I'm thankful to God once again, and yeah, I just need to keep getting better. I look forward to rewatching this, because it's one thing to watch this and another thing to make the video. I hope any of you guys who are watching this can just learn from my trading, you know, all the good things I'm doing, all the bad things I'm doing, and that can help your trading in theory. That's all I got. That was a pretty nice week. I hope I can continue to put in the effort, or at least, you know, just work on trading a lot better.